What's up? What's good? It's MG out of Game Style, and welcome back to another WWE predictions. This time it is WrestleMania 41. Now I know it's been a while since I actually done a predictions video, and this is actually for one of the big events, and I think I would like start doing maybe like one of the big four um premium live event predictions. Maybe keeping it at Royal Rumble, Survivor Series, SummerSlam, and WrestleMania. So I may do that doing four, or I may go back to doing every other PLE. I'll see. But for now, I want to talk about this card and what it took to get here because what everybody's been saying is true. And I kind of like how people are putting it in perspective that this year's WrestleMania, the build up for it hasn't really been all that good. If anything, this has been like one of the weakest builds for any like major, premium live event ever. And that's not really good, especially when you got so much talent, that's on the roster with very weak stories, and then so much unused talent that's not even on the card. So that's something that we definitely going to discuss. But I want to get my 2 cents in on what exactly we're going to do this weekend with parts one and two. So I want to go over the card. I'm actually on the official WWE website, and it has all the graphics. And I'm gonna go match card in no particular order. So right now we're gonna start off with the tag team champions defending against Lyra Valkyria and Bailey. So I mean, I get that this is probably just put together, but to me, having this actually on the card, it doesn't really make a lot of sense to me. It kind of just feels like filler. Um, like I get, Liv, she deserves to have a WrestleMania moment right off the bat. She's had like an incredible 2024. If anything, she's the MVP of 2024. If anything, like between her, Drew McIntyre, you know, they ran it. So this is basically a good reward for her. I would have liked for her to still be the women's world champion, but I get it. We got to sell, out, and against big match cards like that, she's maybe not ready to, reach that status quite yet. But she's definitely, proven to be a main eventer. So that's good, and I think she definitely deserves to be, you know, on the card instead of just being in some random, tag match or some random battle royal. So that's good for Liv and Raquel coming back, with her thing, back together. This is the first ever three-time women's tag team champions. So, that's already record breaking. Now, when it comes to these two matching up together, Lyra Valkyria, she has no reason to even be paired up with Bailey just for this. And excuse me, Lyra is the current women's intercontinental champion. So she should be defending her title on the card. Why are you stuck in a tag team with Bailey trying to win the titles like y'all friends or something when she clearly has a major mid card title? It just doesn't make sense. It doesn't add up. And I think this match is just to fuel Lyra and Bailey for them to eventually start, beefing again. But the question is going to be like, who's going to turn on who? Like, who's going to be the first person to do it? Will it be Bailey? Will it be Lyra? You know, that's yet to be seen. But hopefully, we'll get some answers with that. But I just see, at the end of the day, I see Liv and Raquel retaining, and honestly, that would be the best decision. I don't see what's going to benefit them becoming champions. It doesn't make sense, honestly. But Triple H got to pay a little bit more attention to the mid card women's titles because why even have them if they're not even going to be on the card? You know what I'm saying? Why have them if not going to be in some premium live event? Yeah, you'll defend them on Raw, you'll defend them on SmackDown, but give them more purpose and showcase them on a premium live event. You know, the Women's Intercontinental Championship should be, WrestleMania worthy, or at least some other pay per view worthy, and it's just been shunned, these last couple of months when the titles were even introduced. Um, it's just becoming an afterthought. But, at the end of the day, just not even talking about that. we'll just go with right here. Is that I'm saying that Lyra and Bailey will lose to Liv and Raquel, who will retain the titles. So that's my prediction for that. We're gonna move on up to what we got here. Oh, there's no graphic. Okay, I'm pretty sure if there was a graphic here, we'll see the Damian Priest and Drew McIntyre Sin City Street Fight, and I think this is I think this is the only match on the card that has a stipulation. That's crazy. But yeah, this is one of the matches I'm actually I think one of the top I would say 5 matches I'm looking forward to. And to me, this right here, this match has build up. Because you can go back as far as WrestleMania 40 to when Damian Priest, cost Drew the World Heavyweight Championship by cashing in on him and then taking the title from him. So we can build that in until where this turns into a really big grudge match. They've been going back and forth for a couple months. And honestly, this has to end here. I don't see this, stretching out any further. They've been in the ring several times, countless times. These are two big men who has actually very good chemistry, and it has to come to a close. It really does. Now, from the get go, if you would have asked me personally, Drew shouldn't even be in this match. Like, this is not to sound like really petty about it, but this is really beneath him. Drew is a really top main eventer, and Damien, he's shown that way he can be in the main event, But this is something that I feel like this is more of a side quest for Drew and just to get off his shoulders. So that's why, to me personally, Drew needs to win here. He needs to win. Drew, he he needs something that actually happened to him if he's going to really cement himself as a main eventer. He's already declared himself in the world title picture again against Cody, along with Randy. And if that's going to have any credibility, then he can't take a L right here from Damien. It just wouldn't make sense. And if he were to lose, then what happens to Mr. McIntyre then? You know, how is he going to fall? Then be able to pick himself back up by losing this street fight. Something has to come to a close and just move on. Play the big, bad guy role. Oh, I was right. You didn't listen to me. I told you. You know what I'm saying? Just being a complete a-hole and just, hey, one, now he's off my list. I can go focus back on the world title because Drew honestly deserves, a real championship run in front of a live crowd because ever since he won the WWE championship, obviously due to the unfortunate times, there was no people, everybody was inside. So I think this would be a good chance for Drew to really say like, hey, I can still be the top guy. But at the end of the day, Drew McIntyre, I see him winning this. This is not actually Damian losing here is not really going to hurt him whatsoever. I mean, again, Damian's a badass and he can definitely bounce back from this. But this is to me for Drew, this is a must win. So Drew McIntyre going for him. He's got to get the win. All right, next up here. Ooh, all right now. The Fatal 4-Way. One thing I like about this, and honestly, you know what? I know I just said that there was only one match that has a stipulation. What I have to think though, when it comes to Fatal 4-Ways and triple threats, there are no rules. So technically, it's basically saying there are rules in place, but there's actually no disqualification. So the Fatal 4-Way with Dirty Dom, Finn Balor, Penta, and then the champ himself, Braun Breaker. Excuse me. This is going to be definitely something to look out for. I can see a lot of hatred, brewing between Finn and Dom because they've been teasing it for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks. And I think, they're probably going to team up to try to, beat down the other two here. But eventually, when it comes to the pin, it only takes one. And definitely somebody's going to want to get the cover and try to become an Intercontinental Champion between Damian and Finn. All right. So definitely, I don't. If we want to go storyline base off of this, Braun, he's been a very credible Intercontinental Champion, but he's very destined for more here. Like he's definitely a bigger breakout star. Penta, he just arrived. I don't really know too much about him, but I like his in ring work. It's phenomenal. It's something that I could definitely really like get into because it's really starting to grow on me. But right now, I don't see him winning the Championship at this moment. But from what I've been hearing, the fan favorite to believe it or not to win this is Dom, and you know it kind of actually makes sense because I think the purpose of this match is to tell the story between Dom and Finn and their quest to get the Intercontinental Championship and the official breakup of the Judgment Day. So, if you ask me personally, and I think on paper, I'm gonna go with Dom becoming the Intercontinental Champion. Dominic somehow is gonna pull it off. I think this he may turn babyface, and yeah, I sense that coming in. Finn, man, Finn, he definitely doesn't need more wins in his life, but you know, he's good at putting over talent. You know, there's no much to say about him. Finn's already a bona fide legend, you know, a bona fide Hall of Famer. He doesn't really need this. But if anything, he does deserve to be, you know, in like upper mid card, you know, in the main event spot again. I want to see Finn shine one more time, you know, before it's all said and done, before he say, hey, I'm done. But Breaker, you know, he's been a credible Intercontinental Champion, but I think this is going to eventually hold him back. Kind of like the whole Gunther treatment when he was running for the Intercontinental Championship. Take the strap off of him, and then let's push this man to the moon. You know, the man's a beast. He's a dog. He has it. He has that it factor. You've seen it back in NXT. You know, it's there. So let's go ahead, crown a new IC champ, and let's just push Breaker to where we definitely know he belongs, and that's in the main event. But for now, definitely Dirty Dom. Let's go. He will be the new IC champ. All right. AJ Styles versus Logan Paul. This is actually one of the weakest builds on the whole card. It was just more of a, oh, hey, AJ's back. All right, let's get to a couple matches. And then part timer Logan. Hey, I'm Logan Paul. I don't like this guy. I'm going to punch you. Boom. And then, all right, we're feuding. You know what? Let's do this at WrestleMania. That's basically what this was. And it took little to nothing for it to build this up. So I'm not really 100% invested in it, but that doesn't mean that it's not going to be a good match. They both can go in the ring. AJ's a legend. Logan, for the last couple of years, has shown that he can definitely move in the ring. You can't be mad at that. Like, I would never doubt that he doesn't have a love for the business and, willing to learn. And the athleticism in Logan is shocking, to most people, where we're just like, you know what? He can wrestle. He can go. So let's just see what he does. Let's just see what they both do. And I'm pretty sure there's going to be some high flying spots, some real cool spots. So, and I'm pretty sure also there's going to be some YouTubers out here that's going to try Logan's back and try to win. But, either way it go, whoever loses here is not going to hurt them. It's just like a one-off match maybe, and then just call it a day. But if it comes down to me, I honestly think that this is something that Logan needs to win. It's crazy because he did win last year in the triple threat for the United States title. He retained, but the credibility for him is that a loss for AJ wouldn't really hurt him, but at the same time, it wouldn't hurt Logan. But if you want to ask me honestly, even though this is a much win for Logan, AJ Styles is going to find a way to come out on top and finally beat Logan down and shut him up for a while and send him on his way. So I'm going with AJ Styles to win this. So hopefully AJ can pull out the win and put him down. So we won't have to see him again until hopefully SummerSlam or something. All right. This right here is one of my favorite build-ups, to me, top three, and it makes sense. This is actually a good build-up. And my goodness, like I'm looking forward to this match. I really am. I'm really looking forward to it because all three are so talented. All three can go. All three are former champions, and there's so much high credibility for this because whoever wins this match is definitely going to be like locker room leader of the women's division, in my opinion. Rhea Ripley, Io Sky, Bianca Belair. As much as a lot of people will want Rhea Ripley to win, I don't know because it just like Rhea has done this countless times again and again and again. We've seen it. She's done it. She's had so many accomplishments. She's won so many times, so many championships. She's main evented, so many other PLEs and stuff like that. She's had WrestleMania moments, multiple moments, you know just for Rhea to get it back and then what beat down the entire roster again. If anybody can look back between when she won the Royal Rumble back in 2023 up until this point where we at right now, when her first actual title reign, she was unstoppable. She ran through the entire women's roster. Nobody can take her down. She had honestly one of the longest reigns, and to me, it was kind of going towards the Roman Reigns thing, where she didn't think that nobody could beat her. That's basically where it was, and I don't want to fall back into that trap again, where okay, she has the title back, but now what? Okay, yeah, she's a big star. She sells merch. Everybody loves her. Okay, she's the champion, but now what? We need new stories. We need new, fresh beginnings. Give somebody else a chance who worked hard, who deserves it. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I honestly feel like Rhea, like step back. We get it. You're a beast. You're strong. You're this. You're beautiful. All this BS. We get it. And the same kind of goes for Bianca. She's had her WrestleMania moments. She's even main evented night one at WrestleMania 37. With Sasha Banks. She's done that. She's a multi-time champion. She's had her spotlight. She had, her credentials be, enhanced. She's run Royal Rumbles, Elimination Chambers. She's done it. She's solidified herself. So, excuse me. The same thing goes for Bianca. If Bianca wins, okay, she has the title. Then what? She's the EST. She's ran down women in the past as well. And honestly, if any woman would step to Bianca, say, hey, I want to challenge you, I think could suspend reality, but make it believable as well. Like to me, Rhea versus Bianca is believable. We've seen it before, and it was a really good match. We've seen it before, but we want to have some point of where when you could put two opponents together, it's believable. Now, if you guys can go back between Io and Bianca, and I believe it was that Backlash, that was a good match. Then this is coming from someone who's obviously bigger than the other. She still put on a good show. Hmm. But again, I feel like this, Bianca, this wouldn't hurt her either to lose. So just making it real quick, to me personally, I think Io Sky should win. Io should win. She just got the title. Her first title reign as WWE Women's Champion, a little lackluster, but I believe now with this championship that she has right now, we can stretch her out a little bit more and see her for better things and find new opponents. I think Io is better suited to finding newer challengers, versus these two Goliaths right here. So, and honestly, either one of them taking the pin is not going to hurt them at all. So, Io, I hope she retains, and we'll see what's next for Rhea and Bianca. Sorry, I know I keep coughing. I don't know what's going on. Oh wow! All right, we're getting right to it. The undisputed WWE Championship match: Cody Rhodes, John Cena. So, man, look, this can go so many ways, and honestly, the shenanigans is going to happen. Cody is going to be fighting for his life. He really is. If anything, what told us right now is that Cody has the biggest target on his hand. He's the ultimate golden boy versus someone who basically the face who ran the place for over the past 20 plus years of the WWE. And John says, when he wins, he's taking it with him and being the last real champion ever. And that's it. No more WWE championship. That's the end of it. So, if that's the case, Cody has a lot on his plate to where he needs to stop John. Because John's going to bring it, Cody's going to bring it. But if you ask me, honestly, I feel like this is something that John it's not going to hurt John, because this could make John even more of a heel that he's turned now. But we know The Rock's going to get involved. He has to get involved in some capacity. Try to find a way to stop Cody's momentum and have John walk out as champion or something, or start or restart the match. Say something, do something. That's what he's probably end up doing. But Cody could also have backup. Maybe we may hear some glass shatter, and we may get that. That's kind of what I'm hoping for. But if you're honestly asking me, whoever wins this match is going to be ultimate bragging rights. For this being John Cena's final WrestleMania and him trying to get his 17th World Championship, I don't see it happening right now. I mean, because when he's going to get it and then disappear, and then we're not going to have a champion. On paper, it doesn't make sense. He's still on a light schedule, regardless if this is his farewell tour. He doesn't appear every week. He doesn't really do what he can. He's just here to do his final dream matches and tours of cities and stuff like that, and that's it. Going as champion it's not going to work, So I think later down the line, like towards maybe the summer or the fall or probably another major PLE or whenever, that's when WWE is probably going to do it and just let him go out with his 17th title as the greatest of all time. There's no way you're not going to have this man do his final year, and has turned heel and not reward him for his work. So I do see John getting a world title before he calls it quits in December. But right now, it's not the time. It's not his time. It's Cody's time. Cody finds a way to upset and beat the odds once again to retain the WWE Championship. So, see what goes on with that. As biased as I am with this right here, because I feel like, why is the World Tag Team Championships on the line here on WrestleMania versus the WWE Tag Team Championships over on SmackDown? They're not on the card. I don't feel as invested into this at all. Like I don't get me wrong, I like the New Day, and for what they've done, with their heel work right now as of late, it's kind of been getting a little mid. It kind of been slipping a little bit, but I think by the New Day winning this championship could really turn them and solidify them with their heel turn, and they can take their act a little bit more better than what it is. But the question that really hits me with this is that, does Big E get involved? Big E's there. He's in the house. We know that already. We're not dumb. We're not slow. He's there. And this is on a major PLE. Big E doesn't have to do anything physical to cost the New Day the championships. But what if he doesn't and he helps them? This can go so many ways. But I know for a fact that Big E is going to get involved somehow. And if I were to bet, it's probably going to be some payback. So I see the War Raiders retaining and the New Day not able to capture the titles. That's my prediction because of Big E. Something's going to happen to where it's going to cause the New Day to lose focus and not get their championship. So that's that. Let's keep it moving. This match right here, and I'm going to be honest with you, is one of the highest matches I am actually looking forward to. All right, and the only reason why I say that is because of story. Completely because of story. People, please understand the significance behind this match. This is the first women's match. Not only that, African American, 2 queens. All right, in a singles competition on WrestleMania. That has never happened in the history of WrestleMania, period. And that's something to be proud of. It really is. That's spectacular, And I know for a fact that Naomi is going to make Jade look like a superstar here. I love the heel work that Naomi's been doing so far. Like Naomi is not. She's not shy to let her emotions come out. She's done great heel work in the past. If you know, you know. And trust me, what she's doing right now, Naomi is definitely someone to look out for. But I feel like there's a little bit more to this. I really do. And I don't know. I think this may comes to, hey, how does Bianca gonna feel about this once these two are done duking it out? I thought this was supposed to be the new big 3, But I'm super excited about this. Look for, in my opinion, of how this is gonna go down, some type of interference, some way, somehow. But Jade definitely needs to win this. She needs her get back for what happened to her. But the thing is about how she gets her get back. I don't want this just to be a simple match and then walk off. And they're gonna story tell. They're gonna tell this. They're gonna be very vocal, and expressive. I mean, this is WrestleMania. There's gonna be a reason behind the match, and that's just like with any match on the card. There has to be reason. We're here to tell an epic story, and I'm pretty sure either between the matches or towards the end, we're gonna get some answers to a lot of our questions. So look for Naomi to do a lot of bumps, making Jade look strong and credible in the ring. And, these are 2 spectacular athletes, but Jade definitely is going to get the win here. Haha. Another one I'm actually looking forward to, believe it or not. Rey Mysterio versus El Grande Americano. Rey's a legend. Hands down. He is him. You know, there's no denying it. Ray's work, you know, damn near, senior citizen, and still can go with the best of them, versus, younger talent who's, willing to put in and put over all the time. And you got to respect that for Ray. You have to respect that. This is already a Hall of Famer, and still putting in full time work. That's crazy. There's never going to be another Rey Mysterio. You know. Now, as far as who's going to win this, because I'm still trying to figure out who this man is right here, and I can't. Is really getting to me. You know. But whoever this guy is, like, his in ring work is actually pretty damn good. And for some reason, I just have this gut wrenching feeling that he's going to win. And he's going to take Lucha Libre up to the next level. So I'm looking for Ray to count the lights here. And this Americano is definitely going to get the win here. But I'm pretty sure there's going to be a lot of interference with this, especially probably from LWO or anybody like that. But stories are going to be told, so I can't wait for that one. It's going to be a good match. Next, we got the United States Championship match with Mr. LA Knight, yeah, and Jacob Fatu. Let's just go ahead and get this out the gate. Jacob needs to win. Jacob needs to win. Like, this, the only way that Jacob loses here is because of Solo. If that's the story that they're trying to tell with that, cool. They need to go ahead and tell that. But at the end of the day, LA Knight, credibility. Remember, I was telling you about, reality and making it look believable. There's no way under the sun LA's taking Jacob. Not in a fair fight. Jacob would dog walk LA. All right. And it's sad because we just all know how rough this man is when he gets down in his in-ring work and outside. If you know, when it comes to multiple street fights and everything that Jacob's been done, that man has a past. Right? He don't want them problems. I mean, LA as well, walking the streets of Baltimore and everything like that, but it ain't comparing to this beast right here. So just keep it a buck. No amount of mic skills that LA has is gonna put down Jacob. So it's either Jacob wins, squashes LA, or Solo gets involved and somehow causes Jacob to lose, and their feud continues on with the whole bloodline situation. So, but asking me personally, this is a must win for Jacob. The LA losing here is not going to hurt him. Even though he just got the championship back, LA losing is not going to hurt him. So, Jacob taking the United States title to the bloodline makes sense. And maybe, who knows, maybe he may lead the way for the bloodline. So, hey. So, let's go, Jacob. The match that finally got some like actual steam behind it, and man, oh man, did it need it. The women's championship match, Tiffany Stratton and Charlotte Flair. As much as I want Tiffany to retain here, I don't see it happening. I don't see it happening. I mean, I feel like Tiffany still has a lot to prove, when it comes to being a champion, but her title reign has been very, very lackluster, and she honestly didn't really earn it, from being the Money in the Bank winner and cashing it in and taking forever to cash it in, only for it to really fall flat. I feel like Tiffany actually, she did more better work in NXT than she did on the main roster. And again, that's not her fault. It's because of, the booking that's been given to her. But when you're comparing yourself with someone the athletic and charisma of Charlotte Flair, you're in trouble. So that's not good. And we already know how this is going to go down once you go against Charlotte. She's on her way to winning, you know, uh, 16 world championships like her father, and honestly wants to be one of the people to beat her father's record. It's not just only John Cena and Randy Orton as well. The women, it's also credibility as well because she has the name Flair. She could be the one to beat her father's record. So we don't know, but I think that's the story that they were trying to go for Charlotte before she officially retires. But we'll see. But sorry, Tiff. Tiffy time is going to run out at WrestleMania. Unfortunately, Charlotte Flair is going to be back on top of the main card and is going to overshine. And then we'll see what's next for Tiff. Maybe she chased Charlotte again and get her stats back up, to where she can actually earn the title back. But yeah, I don't see Charlotte losing after she just won the Royal Rumble. Because to me, what would have been the point of that? That win could have went to somebody else. So Charlotte Flair. All right. World Heavyweight Championship match against the Ring General Gunther with main event Jey Uso. Yeet. So another must-win match with Jey winning the Royal Rumble, which was honestly that was very unpredictable, and nobody saw it coming. And that's how honestly WWE booking should be. Very unpredictable for stuff that we don't see coming. Jey needs to win. If Jey loses here, what would have been the point? What would have been the point of Jey winning? What would have been the point of Jey getting these beat downs? What would have been the point of Jimmy catching the beats? There has to be that this ultimate underdog story that they're trying to tell with Jey, coming from the tag team, being like, oh, which one are you? You're belonging to the tag team division to where he is right now to say, hey, I could be just as good as Roman, I can be just as good as my father, or everybody else in his family. You know what I'm saying? He's stretching out and he's gotten the crowd on his side. He's eating everywhere, and you know what I'm saying? It's amazing to see how far he's come. But this man right here, he's no joke. Gunther is no joke. This man is like one of the best 1978 wrestlers I've ever seen in my life. Oh my gosh. Like he's he honestly gives me final boss like vibes. Like for real. So to get the championship and to really put yourself in the credibility to say you actually pinned Gunther, you definitely gotta bring it. So Jey must win somehow. Find some type of moveset that he can, because we all know there's gonna be air forces flying everywhere, But Jay's got to pull it out because there's no way that this is going to be just a quick upset. Gunther is going to make Jey suffer. He's going to make him suffer. He's going to beat him down slowly, break his spirit slowly. I think even Jimmy may come up and pop up and try to help him rally up, and then Jimmy's going to catch the beats again. Find a way to find that dog in Jey. The real main event. Jey Uso, 2021 Jey Uso. That's who I want to see. That man was unhinged. Like Roman had that man in PSD mode, PTSD. Like he was like, man, you better go and get him. He said, I'm gonna get him. You better get him, or I'm gonna get you. And something that's like, you know what? Let me go take care of this. Tribal Chief ain't playing. So that's what we need to see. But at the end of the day, as predictable as it is, Jay's going to win this match. It's just all about how Jay's going to win this match, how he's going to overcome Gunther and raise above the odds and prove that he deserves to be world heavyweight champion. So we'll see how it goes down. Jey Uso, y'all. And to me, the biggest match I have been waiting on, like this entire card, to me, the best build up for the entire WrestleMania. And if you can tell by the thumbnail, I'm more excited for this match than anything. Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, CM Punk. This is going to steal WrestleMania night one. Hands down. This is going to be match of the night. Storytelling, like complete cinema. You know. Now, who's gonna win this match? Any person can win this match, and I would not be mad. I would not be mad at all. You know. But to me, who needs it more, I feel like I'm leaning more towards CM Punk. This is CM Punk's very first WrestleMania main event. Something that he's always wanted. He has it, but winning it would mean a lot to him and can finally move him forward to where he can officially start chasing after heavyweight titles. He deserves it, you know? I think he's proven enough where his home is and what he's here and willing to do for the company. As to Roman, I don't really see Roman benefiting a win from this. We get it, you're the tribal chief, you're the head of the table, you're just down the third, but part timing ain't really one of my best creeps when it comes to WWE and wrestling in general. Like, you show up when you want, just like Seth said, you show up when you want, come in when you want, do what you want, and then leave us for however long as you want. Must be nice. But someone as Rollins coming in and working as hard as he can, doing what he does, Rollins is the beast. So seeing him win and backing up all his words, yeah, it works. But what's gonna come from it though? Like, what's really gonna come from it? Seth's target in this match is stopping CM Punk. That's the story. And it should have honestly clashed out with them. Roman just got involved just because of a head stomp, back at the Royal Rumble. And the history between Rollins and Roman obviously dates back to the whole Shield days, but Rollins being involved, Roman being involved doesn't really kick anything. So to me, this should be honestly the nail in the coffin. This should be it right here, and I think CM Punk should let them know, like, hey, I'm that guy. I'm back. Don't forget who I am. You two better recognize. That's the end of it. Now, when it comes down to Paul Heyman, I think that he's going to stay loyal to Punk, but I don't know if he's going to go over with Seth. But what would that do for Seth? It is sad though that Roman shoved Paul away. Confirming everybody's fear that that's definitely the end of an era. The Paul Heyman, Roman Reigns, Tribal Chief. I acknowledge you, my Tribal Chief. It's over. And it's sad, but what can you do? We got to tell new stories. We got to do new things, and I'm pretty sure Roman's in the part of his life where he's not gonna be doing this for so much longer. We do forget that he does have leukemia. Even though it is in remission, it can still come back. And being very active, anybody with cancer, anybody just being extremely active, especially when the sport of wrestling, can really make it come back quicker, and intensify it. So that's why I understand from a reality standpoint why the limited schedule, why so many shows, blah blah blah, stuff like that. I get it. It makes sense. He's still a draw. He's still who he is. He's made history. Roman doesn't really have to do this anymore. If anything, he should be taking care of his health and making sure that he's spending as much time with his family as possible. I get that. So that's why I feel between any of this, it makes sense on paper for Seth to win because he is the full time guy. He is the one who carries the business for a long time as someone who is definitely the workhorse out of these three people here. But it makes more sense for CM Punk to win here. So CM Punk, I'm going with that. And as far as another question is, if CM Punk's going to win, then who takes the pin? That's what we need to know. And honestly, I can't give that answer, but I want y'all to think about that. Yeah, if CM Punk's going to win, who's going to take the pin? Roman or Seth? All right, y'all. But that's it. That's my predictions. This thing went on a little longer than I thought it was going to be, but please, like, tune in just like me, be a fan, enjoy the show. Comment down below what you guys think, your predictions, how it's gonna be, how the show's gonna turn out, and I hope you enjoy it. But as always, thank you for checking out, this video, my game style, and I will catch you guys in the next predictions. I don't know if I'm gonna do it for Backlash or any other upcoming PLEs like Money in the Bank and stuff like that. I think I might just stick to like SummerSlam or Survivor Series stuff like that, but we'll see. We'll see. It depends on honestly. It depends on WWE and how strong they depend to make their match cards. Because I almost didn't do this one for WrestleMania because it's just such a weak build. It really is. It reminds me of WrestleMania 15. That was bad. And WrestleMania 9, that was even worse. The build for that. Or I can even be even more relevant. WrestleMania 27, even though they had good matches on WrestleMania 27, but the stories was just put together, you know. But anyways, dragging on a little too long. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Y'all take it easy. Enjoy the show. Peace.